going on, everybody? I'm Harrison Graham.
And I'm Chase Sr.
We launched a brand new show just a couple of weeks ago here at Chat Sports, and it's called Any Given Thursday.
We go live every single Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. So the video that you're about to watch aired live on that show. Make sure you subscribe and join us on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel.
Talk a little college football here on Any Given Thursday. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. We go live here on Chat Sports YouTube channel, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central Time, every single Thursday. And right now, it is time to talk about the latest college football rumors. Of course, we got to start with the latest around the USC coaching search. Of course, they fired Clay Helton a couple of weeks ago. The rumors continue to circulate, Chase, and two of our favorite on-air talents, Colin Cowhurst is a host for Fox Sports 1 and The Volume, and Joel Klatt, who I think is the best college football analyst in the game. They're both hearing a lot around James Franklin, so let's go ahead and start there with James Franklin, the Penn State coach, reportedly heavily in the mix.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people watching right now are probably saying, Colin Cowherd, he's never been a newsbreaker. First of all, he does his radio show out of Los Angeles.
He's tied into the LA.
He's been tied into the LA sports scene for a long time, especially USC. And he had Joel Klatt, who I'm with you. I think he's the best college football analyst in the game right now, on his radio show yesterday on The Herd. And both of them disclosed this information, that there's a list of about 5 to 7 names that USC is pinpointing right now to replace Clay Helton. But the biggest name at the college level is James Franklin from Penn State, which I think is pretty fascinating. And when you look back over the last couple of years at some of these USC coaching rumors, one, I think they were too late to fire Clay Helton. They should have done this a couple years ago. But because those rumors have been circulating and simmering for a little while, James Franklin's name has always been closely tied to this USC gig, and it looks as though that's continuing to heat up.
Yeah, and we'll certainly take a look at a couple of quotes around Franklin. Also, there's another candidate that, is he a candidate? Is he not? It's an interesting name. We'll talk about that a little later on as well. Here's what Cowherd said about the USC gig. Quote, "The name I've heard from about 6 people, I don't even like going there, but good God, does he have a presence and does he feel big, is James Franklin. He feels huge. I watch him before every game, and he owns every room he's in." Franklin has some things you don't love, his in-game adjustments, although he's been much better this year, Chase, in that department. That being said, this is an elite recruiter. I don't know if it would be a grand slam hire for USC, but it would probably be a home run if they were able to get James Franklin. So we'll ask you this question, then we'll break it down a little bit more. Should James Franklin leave Penn State for USC? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Essentially, which job do you think is better? Why, if you think he should bolt to USC, and if you think he should stay at Penn State. Let us know what you guys think. And also, Chase, you have pretty strong opinions here.
I do. So I covered Penn State football prior to coming here at Chat Sports in March, and what Colin Cowherd said about James Franklin is so true. Every room that he walks in, he owns it, and he's very confident in himself. And I think the most important skill set that he possesses as a head coach for a program, and the biggest reason he's been able to bring Penn State football back, is recruiting. He has churned out and produced so many legitimate NFL players over time. And I think that it's a great situation for James Franklin to stay at Penn State because there's so much momentum with this program right now. You already have a Big Ten championship. He's been doing such a great job of developing talent over time. So I think it's smart for him to stay with Penn State because of where the program is. Great win over Auburn during the whiteout. You kick off the season with a win against Wisconsin. I think what James Franklin should do, use these USC rumors as an opportunity to get a pay grade and a pay increase at Penn State. He grew up in Pennsylvania. He went to college and played college football in Pennsylvania. It has always been his dream to coach Penn State. He has his dream job. It's an open opportunity this year with Ohio State down to perhaps win the Big Ten championship and make it into the college football playoff for the first time in Penn State's history. So for James Franklin, I think it's really wise to stay with the currently known situation and not leave for the unknown. Of course, USC, a nationwide brand, and the recruiting pool out in California is massive. And if you get it right at USC. You have the ability to make it into the college football playoff every single year, but it's my belief and it's my opinion that Franklin currently has that in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Plus, he's making like $8 million in rural Pennsylvania right now. That money goes a lot further in PA than it does in California. I'll tell you that with this
Yeah,
taxes.
I mean, it really comes down to, do you want to live in 70-degree weather every day? Do you want to try a new challenge if you're James Franklin? I'll tell you this, if you take Penn State to the college football playoff this year, it's going to be hard to leave, because then you finally have gotten this program to where you want it to be, and that's a national powerhouse. He's been on the cusp. They've been on the outside looking in. To your point, I think there's a damn good chance they win the Big Ten this year, and if you are James Franklin, what matters to you most? Do you want to be the guy that brings a national championship back to Penn State, breaks through, gets past that hurdle at Ohio State? Or do you want to gamble, go out west, and if you struggle for 3 years, you might not have a job? It's a big risk. Now, if he was the head coach at Michigan State, or even maybe Wisconsin, not quite a peak Big Ten program, because to me, it's Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan.
Yeah.
After that, Wisconsin's close. They're a close fourth. And then it's Michigan State, it's Nebraska, it's these other programs. But Penn State, while they're not Ohio State, they're pretty damn close in terms of prominence. I would stay there. We see coaches do this all the time, Chase. Matt Campbell does it every year now. Oh, yeah, I'll take the Michigan job. Iowa State, we'll just give you $2 more million per year.
Right.
That's just what happens. So if they continue to play well this year, he's going to garner interest. And if I'm him, I would also stay at Penn State. If I were you, I would get going with BetUS and make some money throughout the college football season. All of you watching, stay tuned for this. Chatsports.com/bet. Open up a different tab, type that link in, chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code CHAT125. Chase and I are red hot in college football against the spread. We're struggling in the NFL, especially me, but stay tuned for our picks later on in the segment and make some money, make some cheddar with us. Use that link below, chatsports.com/bet, promo code CHAT125 to get a 125% deposit bonus. This is an other interesting one, and we won't spend as long on this name here, Chase, but Cowherd also threw this out. I threw Doug Peterson out. The Philadelphia coach who's on the bench right now reminds me of an offensive Pete Carroll. Youthful, fun. If he lived in Hermosa Beach tomorrow and coached USC, he looks and feels like the coach. But I'll say this, not that I'm anti-college coach, but I would prefer a pro coach. So interesting. Cowherd, if he had it his way, he'd go poach an NFL coach.
Well, that's what USC had done with Pete Carroll.
True.
Because of his failures with the New York Jets as well as the New England Patriots. I actually don't hate it. I grew up in the Philadelphia area. The Eagles winning the Super Bowl was one of the best nights of my life. I got rowdy with my boys and we were shedding tears. Doug Peterson, a big reason for that. I think that he would prefer to stay in the NFL. He's taking this year off.
As a college guy.
Throughout training camp, he was popping over with different organizations, kind of
Does he want to
trying to get back into the league.
Does he strike you as a guy that's ready to hit the recruiting trail? That just does not.
A good football mind, but not a guy who's going to be a grinder on the recruiting trail. You better get some good
coordinators who are ready to travel 25 hours a week.
Yeah.
Because I just don't see that for Doug Peterson. But that's an interesting name. What else is an interesting game? Jay Boy, who hosts an SEC show for Colin Cowherd's network, The Volume, on YouTube, he had this to say. Stay tuned for this. To me, when I think of USC football, I think of glitz, glamour, stars, sexiness, appeal, because of all of that stuff falls into the recruiting and the LA lifestyle. I look at Deion Sanders. Does he have a ton of coaching experience? No. Does he know football? Yes. Deion, Chase, of course, coaching Jackson State, has had some moderate success. He's in his second season now. This would be, to me, and I don't want to take away from Jay Boy because I actually do like his show and his stuff, and I've checked him out a couple of times. This would be a disaster, in my opinion. I think bringing Deion Sanders as a head coach would be a nightmare. Now, if you want to bring him in as a DB's coach and he can sell some of that stuff that he's talking about, man, you can play under the lights. It's Hollywood, this and that. Deion's got that flash. But I don't know if I want him running a Power 5 football program at this point. I need to see a lot more. This is USC we're talking about. You can't just go hire Deion Sanders.
Now, when you and I were growing up, there were so many elite NFL players who went to USC. A big reason for that, Pete Carroll and his ability to recruit. He hit the ground running right from day one. He was able to bring in all of those marquee NFL players, the Reggie Bushes of the world. Now, without Pete Carroll and with Clay Helton, hasn't been the same because Clay Helton doesn't have that swagger. He doesn't have that confidence. He doesn't own the room like a Carroll or a James Franklin. You know who would own that room? Deion Sanders. You know who could be a good recruiter? Deion Sanders primetime. Now, if Deion gets hired as the head coach, you know what he has to hit on, though? Offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator.
He can't be
without that, without elite people at those positions, he would be a failure because I don't think that he's going to bring the X's and O's value to the head coaching spot offensively and defensively at USC.
I'll say this. It would be very bold, and hey, maybe that's something that USC needs. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you guys up to date on the USC coaching search every single week here on Any Given Thursday. Got a couple more storylines to get into, but first, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to have the best college football content on YouTube and telling the bosses for 2 years, hey, let's talk some college football. You guys seem to enjoy it for the last couple of weeks. Let's keep it going. Spread the word. YouTube.com/chatsportstv. We'll continue to break down the latest buzz around college football. Speaking of buzz, there's a lot around Arch Manning, the son of Cooper Manning, of course, the nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning. Chase, this guy is getting offers out the wazoo. He's starting to take visits. I don't know if you saw at the Georgia game, but students have a "We Want Arch" sign in the crowd. The kid is 16, 17 years old. Look at the offers this kid already has come flying in here.
He could go down as the most highly touted quarterback prospect and recruit that we've ever seen in the history of the league.
He's a junior, by the way, so it would be the class of 23.
Yep, and there's so much name value there, obviously, because of Eli, Peyton. Even Cooper was a very good football player before he suffered some injuries. But you look at some of the notable offers that he has, every single legitimate program across the country is going to offer Arch Manning a scholarship. And whichever school he goes to, they're going to be in the national title spotlight because I do believe he's that good. He has all of the prerequisites and all of the abilities and all of the talent that you need to be just a phenomenal
And how about
quarterback.
the family pedigree? I think that
family pedigree, no doubt.
Well, how about this? This is a funny twist. And by the way, Ole Miss, one of the teams who have offered already. Lane Kiffin follows one person on Instagram. That would be 16-year-old Arch Manning. You got to love 2021 college football recruiting, baby. Nothing is out of bounds. That is an absolutely hilarious story. Lane Train has it rolling in Ole Miss. This is hilarious. I love this from Lane Kiffin. He has really turned around his image. I think the two guys in sports that have turned things around from PR standpoint, A-Rod and Lane Kiffin. They were out for dead several years ago, and now they are back and better than ever. I love what Lane Kiffin's doing at Ole Miss. He's got another good team this year. Matt Corral's a fun quarterback.
He's a good guy,
maybe,
good
maybe Arch Manning could land in Ole Miss. I think he'll go somewhere else, but I find that hilarious that he's following him on Instagram and literally no one else. Not Ole Miss football, not any of his own players. It's only Arch Manning.
Eli went there. Why don't you come here? Don't go to Tennessee like Peyton.
Come to Tennessee ain't it. Sorry, executive producer Petey. Where will Arch play his college ball? We showed you some of the offers. Bama, Texas, Notre Dame, Ole Miss, Georgia. Where is he going to play his college football? Go ahead and predict it down in the comments. Okay, Chase. We've struggled in the NFL, but you know what? We're doing pretty well in college football. So we might as well start tracking our picks. That probably means it's the kiss of death. We'll probably have a bad
for you,
week.
Not me though.
Well, we'll see what happens this week. So 5 picks each. I'm 12-6. Chase is 9-3. We haven't picked the exact same number of games, but moving forward, 5 picks a week. We'll track the picks, and we'll keep you guys updated on where we stand. Remember, BetUS is the place to make some money. Here are my picks this week. And you guys can follow me on Twitter, by the way, at HGramNFL. I tweet out my college picks each week. These 5, plus I'll probably pick some more games because I just love betting college football. I don't normally do this, Chase. But SMU has been pissing me off this week. Even though I'm rocking red, I'm going with the Frogs. TCU minus 9.5. SMU's talking shit. TCU's going to cover the spread. That's my alma mater. The Ponies ain't getting it done. I like the Frogs by 10 or more. How about this line? Notre Dame plus 6.5 against Wisconsin. Neutral site game, but really, this is going to be about 70-75% Notre Dame because they're playing this game at Soldier Field in Chicago, about 100 miles away from South Bend. I know Notre Dame hasn't been great, It's not like Wisconsin has either, though. Plus 6.5 for the Irish. Give me Notre Dame outright. I think they win this game. LSU, Mississippi State, over 56.5. Both teams have problems defensively. Both teams can score. You know a Mike Leach offense can put up points. I like the over in that game. I'm riding the BYU train as well. Minus 23.5 against South Florida. BYU at home has been excellent. I think they've won like 12 home games in a row, and they've done it in impressive fashion. South Florida stinks. And then USC minus 11 against Oregon State. I told myself the Pac-12 is dangerous to bet. I like USC, though. I thought they played better in their first game without Clay Helton. This freshman quarterback, Jackson Dart, I don't know if you saw him play at all, Chase. Elite quarterback name. He was throwing darts. We'll see if here Keaton Slovis goes in this game, but I think they cover that 11 points at home. Late night Pac-12 after dark game. It'll get weird, but take USC in that one. I like it. We're going 5-0. We're going 6-0 because my upset of the week, Cal plus 7.5 at Washington. Cal's 1-2, but they've been competitive. Close losses to Nevada and to TCU. Washington's been bad. They're 1-2 as well. Got blown out by Michigan and lost to Montana in week 1. Give me Cal. They win this game outright. Plus 7.5 at Washington. Those are my picks. Let's pass it across to Chase for his picks.
A lot of the same picks as you. We're on the same page here. I think it's the Jack Cohn revenge game against Wisconsin at Soldier Field. I think Notre Dame is not only going to cover that 6.5 point spread as underdogs, I think they're going to win outright. And I don't think it's going to be close because I think Notre Dame is much better than Wisconsin, even though they've been somewhat lackluster to start the season. Iowa, people continue to sleep on the Hawkeyes. I know that they're in the top 5 right now, but they are so legitimate, so physical, and they've kicked the ass of everybody that they've gone up against so far. Indiana is only 9-point favorites on the road at Western Kentucky. That line kind of stood out to me. Coming off that loss last week against Cincinnati, Michael Penix Jr. has turned the football at really inopportune times throughout the year so far, but they did flash a lot of ability. I like Tom Allen as head coach. They flashed that ability last week against Cincinnati, and I think they're starting to find their identity for the 2021 season. I like them to roll. USC, they fell behind early in that game last week, but Dante Williams and the boys stormed back, and I think they're going to win by a large number here and cover that 11-point line. And then Maryland. How are the Terps undefeated right now? Only 11-point favorites against Kent State. Can somebody explain that to me?
Get me back on screen here, Sam.
How are the Terps 11-point favorites against Kent State at home?
Are you sure you got this at minus 11? I could have sworn this was minus 15. I'm pulling this up live. We're doing this live. I just don't know. I just don't know if that's what the line is.
Whether it's 11, whether it's 15.
14 and a half.
Okay.
You're still taking it?
I'm still taking it. 14 and a half?
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the Terps at 14 and a half too. Kent State,
Maryland's going to win by at least 3 touchdowns.
Oh my God.
Tua's brother has been slinging.
Talua's good, dude.
Yeah.
He's pretty damn good. The Terps are 3-0. They beat West Virginia in week 1. I like Maryland in that game as well. So I'm a big fan of your picks. Who do you got as an upset pick this week?
So last week I had Michigan State as 6-point underdogs on the road against Miami. They completely thrashed
That was a good pick.
I was very, very proud of that selection. So now, even though producer Sam Brown went to Oklahoma, I have to admit, I haven't been impressed at all by Spencer Rattler. I frankly don't think he's all that good. West Virginia, even though they're going to be on the road, came up with a big win last week at home against Virginia Tech. I think they can win this game. I think they're at least going to cover the 17-point line. So give me West Virginia to have Oklahoma on upset alert. They struggled against a bad Nebraska team. Got to give it to Adrian Martinez. He played pretty well. He was dog shit against Illinois to start the season, but he actually played okay last week. Give me the Mountaineers plus 17 at Oklahoma as my upset pick.
Oh, that's good stuff. Producer Sam trying to talk to us.
Sam went to Oklahoma.
I'll get back on screen here eventually. Those are the producer Sam's in shambles as we're wrapping up our picks here. All right, appreciate that. We already asked this question. We'll ask it again. Where will Archie Manning play his college ball? It's good, Sam. We'll end on this one. Where will he play his college ball? Get your votes in and let us know.